So hi everybody, I'm Pia from Stitches and Scraps if you don't already know me, and this lovely woman over here is Marsha from One Geek Craft, or sorry, One Geek to Craft Them All. Your Etsy thing is like One Geek Craft is the short name.
Yeah.
So I found your site. I stumbled across it off a list that I was looking at, and I totally fell in love because I am a gamer. That's my. I mean, I'm geek, but I like board games, and you have all those beautiful dice stitch markers, and that just like sucked me in. So I had to wear a shirt to show off my geekiness. So I got to show you. These are all symbols from my favorite board game designer, Stonemaier Games. So he's really cool with crafting stuff too, and I've met him. He's a good guy. I love his games. So I just wore my gaming shirt.
Excellent. Excellent. That is awesome. I am good. I am actually for once not wearing a gaming shirt, which I feel like is some kind of universal mockery, because usually I'm wearing a graphic tee, and then for work I have a client call and they turn on video and I'm like, oops.
Oh no. Oops. See, that's why I sit like right here so that nothing from here down shows, which means most of my shirts don't show anything. If I
yeah,
bit, you can see it all.
Yeah, this is my normal angle, so my joke is as long as you can't tell I'm knitting, which I'm like, I don't knit up here. So for the most part, if I was knitting right now, you might notice my arms are twitching a little, but you wouldn't know what I was doing.
No, not at all. I would be the same way if I had to sit through work meetings. I'd be knitting the whole time. In fact, I sit through CGOA board meetings, and where all of us are sitting there crocheting while we're doing it. But so let's talk about your store. First of all, how did you get started? Tell me your story.
Well, yeah, sure. It was about, I guess that's, 10 years ago now.
Wow.
And I was just starting out as a knitter, and I, like every knitter and crafter, because I had crocheted before that, but when I started knitting, I was like, stitch markers would be really handy. And at the time, all I could find were, the regular little plastic ones that you can get for like $4 for 300 that you promptly lose. And I was like, it'd be so nice if there were pretty ones and fun ones. So I had always made jewelry and beaded bracelets and things. Mm-hmm. So with the supplies I had, I just made myself a set of stitch markers and went, all right, this worked out. And I made a few more, and I was just like, this is nice. And at the same time, I was making a scarf for New York Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time I was going to Comic Con in years of not going. And so I wanted something, but I didn't want cosplay and everything. I was like, let's ease back into the life. And so I made a DC scarf with all of the logos.
Oh, cool.
And it was double knit. And I worked in New Jersey, so on my way home in New York, I could stop at Nitty City, which is a yarn store on the Upper West Side. And so I would grab colors because they had all the colors, and I would just, as I got to the next square, show up and try and pick another color, show them the progress and all of that. And they had the first New York yarn crawl.
Oh, fun.
And so it was an event going from store to store, and the owner, Pearl, was like, hey, would you be interested in doing a chat about double knitting and geeky things and anything like that? And I was like, sure. I'm just learning myself, and she was like, you see that scarf? You can have this conversation. I was like, okay, I am absolutely fine with doing that. So I agreed, and she was like, oh, and if you're selling anything, bring that too. And I went, I have some stitch markers I made, I guess. And she was like, yeah, absolutely, bring them. And that was kind of...
Back then, there weren't all these different stores selling stitch markers. I mean, stitch markers really were just the cheap plastic ones, and that's it. Right?
Yeah, and that was it. Like, I brought it. I gave the talk. I had my first 2 customers who were a pair who had come up from, I think, DC for the crawl. And like, I see them almost every year at least Rhinebeck or Vogue Knitting Live, and every single time I'm just kind of like, "See you guys!" And there's always like big hugs, and like, I'm like, "You were my first customers. I'm never going to forget you." And so that's how it started. And like, once I started making them, it became kind of a game to me to be like, how easily can I make something identifiable, but still like kind of roundabout? Because I'm like, no, I'm not going to make a Batman stitch marker with the bat symbol. I'm like, I'm going to make a stitch marker that's like black and yellow. Maybe it has a little grappling hook. Maybe there's a tiny version of Robin next to him. Like, having fun in the sense of how abstract can I make this while still a fan of it is going to go, I see what you did there. I know what that is.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you want to stay away from anything that's trademarked and stuff like that too. So that's always a challenge with cosplay. I have a friend who does a lot of cosplay stuff, and that's an issue in that field because different publishers feel different ways about things, you know? And I'm always, I'm a big fan of go to the source and get permission if you're going to use their stuff. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's tricky. So I did notice that in a lot of your stuff, it's like hinting at it for people who know what it is. It's the colors, it's the symbols, but it's not like straight out trademark stuff, you know, which I thought was really cool. Yeah. But honestly, it's the dice markers that sold me. But I noticed that most of the stitch markers on your site show up as knitting stitch markers, where they're the solid circle, so you can't slip them on and off like you need for crochet. But you were telling me that it's possible to have them either way?
Yes. So for the most part, and this has probably nothing to do with anything except habit, I tend to make knitting stitch markers, but every time someone's like, so crochet, I'm like, oh crap, yeah, I absolutely make those.
Right.
It's absolutely the same price. It's the same process. So like, I had someone send me a message hilariously yesterday on Instagram asking, they're like, okay, so I saw your stitch markers and I like a bunch, but I'm just a crocheter. Can they become knitting crochet stitch markers? And I was like, oh yeah. And they were like, so how much does that cost to convert them? And I was like, no.
Yeah,
No,
it's the same price.
No, this is me being fuzzy for no reason. I absolutely can make any set I have crochet or knitting stitch markers. I default to knitting because I've made crochet sets in the past, and like, there's no real reason except it takes a little longer. So like, my default brain just make the knitting ones. If someone wants the crochet ones, they'll ask, and then I'll make them, and it'll be fine.
Right.
Which is what happened, but I wonder.
Honestly, some people look at it and they go, oh, those are only for knitting. And yeah. So I want to make sure people know, if you see something you like on her site, ask. And then the other thing I thought was so cool that you do is you've got these bracelets that you can attach the stitch markers to, so they can become jewelry. Because I have a set of beautiful stitch markers I won from somewhere, I don't even remember where, and I use them as jewelry because they're really tiny and delicate, and I put them on a chain, and I just wear them as a necklace, like all 5 of them as a necklace. So I love the idea of using the stitch markers as jewelry, and those come in all different colors, right?
Yeah, I have the full rainbow and then some extras, because I'm like, silver, gold, black, and white are not really rainbow colors. Right. And yeah, the idea is that they are of a size that you can slide my knitting stitch markers on, and because they're braided faux leather, you can hook the crochet stitch markers onto them as if you were putting them inside a project, which is why I chose that style of bracelet. So it's like, I think about the crochet markers all the time, even if I'm like, oh, sorry, I don't have any present for you.
Well, that's cool. And you mentioned rainbow colors. You have a lot of sets in rainbow colors and LGBTQ stuff. Did you see the news this morning?
I did. I was mildly astounded, having seen, was that Friday, the like healthcare trash, and then today I was like, oh, that's a positive thing.
Right?
We
it's so
got a
nice
majority
to have a positive
on a
thing.
positive thing.
It's so nice to have something positive these days. It's just been, man, 2020. Like, what happened? But and I saw you have some. Didn't I see like a COVID set that had like a little mask or something like it on there? That was so cute.
Yeah.
I like that you have the current event stuff. You know.
Yeah, I always try and have at least a couple sets based around whatever current events. So yeah, like right now I think I have like Stay Home. There's a World Health Organization set that just has a little stethoscope and the letters WHO. And then I
gotta say, when I saw that the first time, I thought it was a Doctor Who set.
I looked at it and I was like, I specifically tried to avoid blue and white in that set because I was like, I do make Doctor Who sets. So it wouldn't be that far if someone was like, well, that says cool. So Doctor Who, and I'm like, no. And it's like when I have sets like that, I also try and have the proceeds from the sets go to the organization. So like the Stay Home set, I think half the proceeds go to the World Health Organization every time I sell a set. And the Who sets for World Health Organization, 100% of the proceeds go to the World Health Organization. So I've done one donation so far, since I think I've only had them a couple weeks up. So.
Well, that's great. I didn't even know that. I didn't click on them, so I didn't see that. But so which sets do you have that go to donations? Anything that's associated with a cause, basically, right?
Definitely anything that is associated with a cause. Another thing that I just instituted, I guess, this weekend is that all of my Harry Potter sets, so I have Harry Potter sets, Harry Potter earrings, and Harry Potter project bags. So I think those are sold out right now. And everything from that, based on J.K. Rowling making choices on the internet. Yes. I've decided anytime I sell stitch markers or earrings, I will donate $5 to blacktrans.org.com. And if I sell a project bag, it'll be $10. And with the idea being, I already have the supplies to make these sets. Some of these sets are already made. So I might as well do some good for the people she keeps disparaging for reasons I don't know. I guess she's bored in quarantine. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Mess. It's a mess, but that's great. So you're doing a lot of good with these stitch markers too, and I didn't even know that till we were talking right now. So that was good to learn. So anything else? You've got jewelry too. You've got earrings. Can any of the stitch marker things be made into earrings if people want, or is that a completely different thing?
No, they can be. The only catch is for the stitch markers. Well, I guess it's not even really a catch. It's just if it's a set that has 3 charms and you want a pair of earrings, I'm like, so do you want 2 of one of the charms?
Yeah, you have to pick
randomly,
the charms, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to clarify. And I think a lot of my stitch markers have like matching earrings. So like either the main charm or the most recognizable charm will be in earrings. So you don't have to be like, okay, I like those stitch markers, but I don't knit or crochet. I want jewelry. The earrings are already there.
Wonderful. So that's cool. It's a very like any design you like, you can get earrings or stitch markers or crochet stitch markers. And you said you've got project bags as well. So you've got everything. I actually got a little lost on your site because I was scrolling through it. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much to look at. I don't think I even looked at all of it. You have a big catalog.
Yeah, I try and keep a rolling inventory at all times. And obviously, whenever it's festival season, it quadruples.
Of course.
So I can pack it up and go to a show. I think the main thing I do is I like the idea of, and I've long since like blown past this number, but I remember always having the idea that the baseline, I should have 100 sets of stitch markers and 100 pairs of earrings in stock.
That's
whatever
lot.
else I'm doing.
Having made stitch markers once myself, that is a lot.
It is. It takes work and like putting stuff together, but for the most part, I do things like when I'm prepping for a show, my general rule is to make 2 sets of anything. So so for a show, my usual answer is make 3. So like I'm restocking the shop and it has the 2 sets and the third one is not listed, so that like for the months leading up to a show, I'm slowly building up in-person inventory, but not depriving people who are going to the website to being able to buy even the same exact thing. Like I always make a show exclusive set that is only available in person, but like that is one style. And only that one style is only available there. Everything else, I want you to be able to get in person or online, however you choose or are able to shop.
Cool. So what shows do you like to go to?
I have done some local things like the Atlantic Antique, which is like a street fair. The 7th Avenue. Right? Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn. And so Atlantic Avenue is a major street, and they like close the road down one weekend every summer, and it's just like food and shopping. So I've done that. I've done the New York Yarn Crawl, as I mentioned before. I've done the Brooklyn Yarn Crawl, and then I do Vogue Knitting Live every year in January, so in Midtown, and then I've done Indie Untangled, which is the Friday before Rhinebeck.
Okay. So do you ever go to the gaming conferences or the cons, like the sci-fi stuff, or?
I've also vended at FlameCon, which is 5 years old because Instagram sent me a picture and told me so recently. So it is New York's premier LGBT gaming comic con. So I've gone there and cosplay and vended.
I did not even know that existed.
Yeah, it is pretty new. So, but yeah, I've vended there, and I've never vended at but I've gone to Comic Con, I've gone to Dragon Con in Atlanta. I want to go to Gen Con. That's clearly not a 2020.
Yeah, we went to Gen Con for years, me and my husband, and we ended up, he likes it. I ended up switching to going to Origins only, and if he wants to go to Gen Con, he can go with his friends, because I tried to go onto the show floor one time, and I got so swept up in the crowd that like, you can't move. I couldn't leave. I went in to go to one booth. I knew where it was. I couldn't get there. I couldn't get out. It was just this whirlpool of people that kept pushing you in one direction. And I had a literal panic attack in my 5 minutes on the show floor. I wanted to just sit down and scream till everybody moved. And I finally made my way out. And now if I go to a con that's that big, I'm only going to do the event floor where you're playing games. But it's a zoo.
That makes sense. Yeah, I haven't been to New York Comic Con in 2 years, 3 years, and it's partly for that reason. Like it's 60,000 people. It's just a wall of people, and I feel like they don't acknowledge the sheer volume of people.
Yeah,
that
at some
are
point
going.
You can't really do business well when you can't breathe. I mean, when there's just such a mass of people, it's But you check into Origins. It's in Indiana, and we've been going to that one. It's a relatively new one, and it's been awesome. We've liked that one. It's Origins Game Fair, I think, is the whole name of it. Of course, not
I will
this year,
definitely. I will definitely check it out because I've been having a lot more fun going to smaller conventions. Like,
Yeah.
I think FlameCon is my new absolutely most favorite convention. It's small, amazing, it's inclusive, everyone, like, it's like every time I leave, I'm like, but can I like bring this entire feeling with me? Can I just bring this con into real life? Just make the rest of the world like this.
Yes, yes.
But yeah,
that's
so
actually,
it's definitely.
That's actually how I feel about the crochet conference, the Crochet Guild of America. I'm on the board there this year, but I go there every year, and I never want to leave. We're all like crying when it's time to leave because we're like, these are our people, you know. It's nice.
Yeah.
That feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that feeling is great because I'm like, I definitely get a version of that feeling at like Rhinebeck, but it's also so big.
Yeah, right.
That I'm like,
I actually know somebody who you may know or you may not. I hate doing this as like I know not everybody in Brooklyn knows everybody, but my friend Marie from Underground Crafter. Do you know her at all? She's another designer.
Think so.
Check her out. She's in Brooklyn, and she goes to a lot of the same. I know she's been to Rhinebeck. I don't know where else she's been, but I know she goes to a lot of the conferences out there too. Her name is Marie Segares, Segares, and her website is Underground Crafter because she started out crocheting on the subway.
Oh no, I'm like that. I'm like that makes sense. I went through a lot of New York themed names and discarded them because either it was too close to something someone else had, or the version someone else had was better. And I was like, I was like, well, okay, so I can't be Subway Knits. I can't be Knit New York. I'm like, that's a whole other thing. And it was like stuff like that. And I was like, okay, we're going to let go of New York. We're going to let it go.
Yeah.
What else are you? And it's like, oh, you're a geek. Cool.
Oh, definitely, right? That's better than New York anyway. Geekiness is more worldwide. There's so much crossover with geeks, with geek culture and fiber culture. I'm finding there's so much crossover.
I think my favorite thing is 3 years ago, I started playing D&D.
Oh my gosh, do you play in person or do you play online?
Now online, but it was always a mix. So like my first D&D game was a Rhinebeck game. So when we had our house Saturday night in our house at the we played a D&D game where my roommate was the DM and she set up a Rhinebeck themed adventure. So there were all sorts of little nods to the festival. Not to mention the fact that we had just traveled to a fiber festival in game that was plagued by mysterious forces and wasn't happening this year, but it was an annual event and people came from far and wide. And it was just hilarious. It was hilarious. And we played in person and we ended up playing this one-shot game for 3 years. And like people came and went in the party and we played in person at Rhinebeck every year. And we we also played on and off, throughout the year in between virtually, since some of the members of the house lived in Canada or just out of state. So we weren't all together. But in the same time that I started playing D&D, my roommate introduced me to Critical Role.
Yeah. Isn't it like Roll20 now it's called, or Critical Role is the website, right, or no?
It's critroll.com, and they stream on Twitch. And so basically, now they have an animated series in progress that will air on Prime. And it was next year due to pandemic 2022, unclear.
Yeah.
But
so it's not what I was thinking of then. I thought you were talking about a D&D app online.
Oh yes, I think I've used Roll20 once.
Yeah.
To play, like you use it to play
You
and
use
like your
it in
DM can have maps.
conjunction. You actually can use it in conjunction with this other program called D&D Beyond, which is what we do. Is that the one you use?
Yes.
Yeah.
D&D Beyond, yes. So I'm very familiar with D&D Beyond. Like, I've only used Roll20 once with a different DM who also used Roll20. But for the most part, yeah, I've used D&D Beyond to, like, host character sheets and do all of that fun stuff.
Well, Roll20, interestingly enough, has a Chrome add-on, like a little Chrome widget that goes up in the bookmark bar up there that connects to D&D Beyond. So you can be looking at your character sheet and you're like, okay, I got to make a charisma check, right? Or you click on charisma and it will roll it in Roll20 from D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
It's totally cool. That's what we've been using recently. I do a Thursday night game with some friends.
Yeah, I do I guess that's a Friday night game. I was like, what day of the week is that? Time. What is time?
What is time anymore, right? What day is it now? It's like Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, it does not feel like, wait, it is Monday, right? Yeah, it does not feel like Monday today. It feels like the whole week has already happened.
Yeah, I definitely am like, my day job definitely helps with generally remembering if it's a weekday or weekend.
What do you do
weekday?
as a day job?
Oh, I am a surveys analyst at a professional learning and development firm here in New York.
That sounds actually really exciting.
Yeah, it's hilariously like exactly what I went to school for. So every once in a while, someone will say, "How did you get into that?" And I was like, "Well, I got a degree in it." And then
that's rare. I don't think I know more than like 2 people who are in the field they went to school for. My degree's in chemistry.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was a realtor for like 15 years. It was like, life is funny that way. Yeah.
It is. And I'm like, hilariously, I have coworkers who have like advanced degrees in the hard sciences, and I'm like, what are you doing here? How did you have an advanced degree? I can't even say the kind of chemistry you studied. What?
You know what probably happened is the same thing that happened to me. By the time you get through it, by the time you actually get that degree, you hate that field so much that you never want to touch it again.
Like that terrifyingly checks out. Like they'll vaguely touch it because like I work in the life sciences sector, so we have pharmaceutical firms, medical device companies. So like theoretically, if they're working on the pharma team, they might like see a compound, and while I'm like, I don't know, someone threw a bunch of letters at a wall. Right. They're like, oh no, that means that this, and this are in there, and I'm like,
they can draw it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. I can make pretty things with yarn. I don't. Yep. Everything you just said there was beyond me.
Yeah, but it's honestly, it's just another language, and once you learn it, it's like all of those little bits are just words in this language, and to make the compound name, you just string all the words together into one word. Yeah, that's it. But okay, we've completely gone off topic now.
Well, it's bound to happen.
Exactly. So I should let you go, and I'm gonna circle back and just remind everybody this is Marsha from One Geek to Craft Them All, which is awesome. And she's got tons and tons of stuff. If you want to check out her store, I have my affiliate link to her Etsy store in the Zoom webinar right now and on the Facebook live streams in the comments or in the description. Sorry. So please go check her out. And thank you so much, Marsha, for joining.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.